What were the NKVD's methods? Have you ever wondered how a government can maintain such tight control over its people? The NKVD, or People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs, was the Soviet Union's main secret police and security agency from 1934 onward. This organization played a significant role in the rise and fall of empires in European history, particularly during the Soviet era. Let's take a closer look at the methods employed by the NKVD to maintain state control and suppress opposition. First, the NKVD was tasked with protecting state security. This meant identifying, arresting, and eliminating anyone seen as a threat to the Soviet regime. Their methods were designed to root out dissent, whether real or imagined. One of the most alarming practices was the use of mass arrests. Officers had arrest quotas, meaning they had to detain a certain number of people, regardless of actual evidence. This led to widespread arrests for minor or even fabricated offenses. Many individuals were labeled as enemies of the people, a term that could apply to anyone from political opponents to ordinary citizens. The NKVD also conducted trials through troikas, which were three-person panels of NKVD officers. These tribunals operated outside the regular legal system. They required minimal evidence for conviction, and the process was swift and secretive. The accused had little chance to defend themselves. Interrogations were often brutal. The NKVD used torture and psychological pressure to extract confessions. They relied heavily on networks of informants to monitor suspected dissidents. These informants could be anyone from neighbors to coworkers, creating an atmosphere of fear and mistrust. Executions were another grim aspect of the NKVD's methods. Thousands were executed in mass operations, such as the Katyn massacre, where Polish prisoners of war were killed. Deportations to remote regions like Siberia and Kazakhstan were common. Entire families and communities suspected of disloyalty were targeted. During World War II, the NKVD also engaged in sabotage missions behind enemy lines. Their counterintelligence operations included recruiting agents through manipulation and coercion. The NKVD managed the GULAG system, which was a vast network of forced labor camps. By 1941, millions of prisoners were held in these camps, including political dissidents and workers accused of sabotage. The gulags provided a source of labor for Soviet industry and infrastructure projects. From a European history perspective, the NKVD's methods exemplify the extreme measures totalitarian regimes used to consolidate power. Their actions had lasting consequences for populations across Eastern Europe, particularly in Poland, Ukraine, and the Baltic states. Mass arrests, executions, and deportations were used to suppress national identities and resistance movements. In summary, the NKVD employed a range of methods including mass arrests, forced confessions, extrajudicial trials, executions, deportations, and the use of informants and forced labor. These tactics were central to the Soviet regime's efforts to maintain control and suppress dissent, leaving a lasting impact on the history of Europe.